Good afternoon, all. CamelbackTrading.org coming to you this Friday afternoon, May 24th. We're looking at window traders market profile of the ISD NQ. A lot to get to. We're going to recap all these charts. First and foremost, I want to wish everybody happy Memorial Day, and more importantly, to anybody who's ever served or is currently serving, thank you very much. Right? So for somebody who never served, I truly appreciate what guys and gals have done for us. So thank you very much. And stay safe this weekend, all. So today turned out to be an inside day, which attempted to go trend up after taking yesterday's trend day down. ES failed at it. NQ held theirs. Righty never really even attempted. We all have inside days. Volume horrific. So the volume, once again, right now just beat the previous low of the year. It's definitely going to be in the top 10 and very good odds of being under 40 million. What that means is we'll have 4 days already of under 40 million shares in SPY this year. Why is that significant? Last year, our lightest volume of the year was 47.8 million. So after 1 day of good range yesterday, and the volume wasn't that good, we had decent range to start, and then it just dried up. And the volume's horrendous again. We spent the entire day after D period in D period, except for a quick blip in L, where I talk about being that lion waiting in the grass and snatch my prey, and I got it in NQ. Had a good day overall. We saw the market well. Righty goes out with a 9-wide point of control inside day. Now, they were down on the daily. So at best, I'd call them down to balance because they didn't take out a previous high. We'll go over all the charts in a minute. NQ ends 8 wide. Never could get 9, but they do have a double distribution day. We go out 9 wide and have an inside day also. As far as trading went, I actually had a nice short in ES prior to the opening. Why? Because they front run the overnight high. Took the short right before the opening, came in and did well on it. Trying to think how many points I made on that. I think it was at least 4, but I forget. Anyway, it was a nice trade. Then in NQ in A period, once they got the overnight high, started ebb and flowing longs. And against the 144 simple moving average. Did well in that. Same thing in B period. Once it popped, I didn't get the pop above A, but any pullback I was buying. They held trend. I did take a short the first time when NQ filled their single prints. And it did back off enough for me to get paid. But then after that, was strictly looking for longs. C period NQ long. Longing it against the singles and no ebb and flow. ES C period when they filled the singles. Got long. Should have held on to that sucker. I bought it at 7. I should have held it. Only held it for a couple of points. Look, we went from 7 up to 29 in D period. But at least we saw it right. I did take a short in C period in ES once we filled the singles, took it off for a 3-point loss. Actually, I was up at least 8 points in ES. I don't know. I forget. I'm not sure if that was on the short on the overnight or on the long. It must have been on the long also on the single print fill. So that was my one loss on the day on that short against the single print fill in ES. I did take a short in NQ and F period. I didn't think we would go triple distribution. So I took a short against D&E's high, and it did work out. Now, I took a long in I and NQ when it pulled back looking for the... I thought, I didn't long H. I was looking for lower. I thought we had a chance to fill the single prints in ES, and I thought we had a chance to fill at least 1 set in NQ, if not 2, but I did think B would hold. So I didn't do anything. And they kept going back up. In fact, when I went back up in J, I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I missed my opportunity. But I didn't. First off, I did take a small long in I in NQ. And then I was very patient. And then when L flushed, and especially once they filled the single prints, I got started early. I bought 2 at 67, but then I bought 5 right as soon as the single prints filled. And we bounced from 30, whatever we got down to up to 55, 60 in a heartbeat. So I did great on the 5, and I lost, I think, like a total of 10 points, 12 points on the 2 lot. Should have held them. I would have made money on those 2. But that just goes to show you, even if there aren't a lot of opportunities, no FOMO, patience, right? Be a lion waiting behind the grass for your prey to come by and then snatch it. And why did I think that was a good risk-reward long? Hadn't seen the halfback all day. Still had single prints in B. Value had been pulled up to unchanged. We had the IB high. We had the overnight high. We were up 1%. There's a lot of things going for you there, even though it's an inside day. So, again, that's why I did those, and it turned out to be nice. So, good day and a good week. As far as destinations go, in ES, where did we close? The POC is below us. Okay, so 530.27 is today's high. The downside, 529.36.9 wide, and today's low of 526.88. In ES, 29.25 is our high, 20 is our 9 wide POC, 94.75 is our low. I don't use L as an afternoon pullback, too late in the day for me. Now let's go to these charts. Okay? So first and foremost, here's the monthly in IWM. It's in a, again, depending on what kind of balance you want to call it. I'm probably going to call it, a 5-month balance. I think I'm going to incorporate January of this year. So I'm going to use a 5-month balance for now in righty. Now, they had some changes here. Weekly went back to balance. Okay? So they went from up to balance on the weekly. So they're balance monthly, balance weekly. And the daily, which was down after yesterday, I'll call it down to balance. But there's no way I would call it strictly balance. Even if we take out today's high on Tuesday, it would be balanced for me unless we took out this yesterday's high. So it's still down to balance for me. But it is an inside day. NQ and triple Qs. Monthly's up. The weekly's up. One time framing up for 4 weeks out of an inside week. So they're both still very healthy. The daily is balanced. Now again, very subjective. Coming into today, I said I wanted to use last Wednesday's low still as my balance. Now that we had the inside day, it's still balanced. I still think when the 15th low is very important, but we'll see if we take out both today's low and Friday's low, how much we get out of it, and then I would say whether I would be calling it balanced still or down, even if we didn't get the 15th low. But for now, balance and an inside day. Very important, these inside days. Remember, we had an outside day down in ES yesterday. Absolute failure. Never got any traction. So here's the S&P. Monthly up. Weekly up. 4 weeks, one-time framing after the inside week, just like the NQ. And the daily balance. Now, it's a it's an 8-day balance, no doubt. But the entire range of that 8-day balance is yesterday. Just keep that in mind. What does that mean? It means Tuesday, when you come out of the inside day, whether to the upside or downside, you really need to monitor for continuation or lack of. Because if you don't take out Thursday's high or you don't take out Thursday's low, even coming out of the inside day, you're still in balance. And that means the inside day probably had lack of continuation, one way or the other. So that all remains to be seen. So keep all that in mind. Again, I'd love for you to check out my new website, camelbacktrading.org. There's different price points. In fact, I have different price points for people who have served in the military. So any traders out there who are serving or have served, go check it out. Thank you for liking and subscribing to this channel. Really appreciate it. Enjoy your weekend. Stay safe. And we'll speak prior to the opening on Tuesday.